I'm going to demonstrate once more about the filling in after I've outlined. The brush I did with the H, that was a 1 inch, and I thought it was awful bulky, and I couldn't figure it out until I went to rinse it out and realized it wasn't a 3/4 inch. It was just a little too big. Even though it fit the size of the letters, sometimes it's hard to maneuver larger brushes. But here I am, I'm just going to go in. This is an actual 3/4 inch brush, and it's just a little easier to get into tighter areas, but still cover very well. And again, this is the Deco Art Americana Buttermilk color. I probably could have done a white, and the orange coming through would have made it a little more, less stark white, but I went ahead with the buttermilk. Buttermilk, I think, too, gave it a little bit more opacity. That's just my personal opinion. I don't have any proof of that. But now, to do areas that are narrower than your brush, you can angle it, and then it won't take up so much of the space or go over the outlining. And you just fill in as you see needs be. It won't be completely even. There'll be areas that you'll see are a little bit thicker with paint than others. And that's okay, because you come in and sand to distress it a little bit, and it evens it out. Now, I may have mentioned this before, but a stencil for this would work great. And you may think that doing it by hand like this is more tedious, but actually pouncing in the paint for a stencil, then going back and filling in the bridges can also be quite time consuming, and then preventing the paint from going under the edges and bleeding can be challenging as well. But I do like stencils. I've used them a lot when I was doing signs that had the same saying, doing a lot of painting of custom signs for people, and a lot of people like the same quote or saying, so it made it worth it to pay for a stencil in those cases. But if I'm just doing a one-off, I just do them by hand, because it's not worth the added expense. By the time I paid for the stencil, the price of the sign would be so exorbitant, people have a hard time buying it. So there's the A. I can go back over the lighter areas once the paint has dried, because if you keep going over it wet on wet, sometimes it pulls up the paint. And that is how you fill in your lettering. Now I'll go back, I'll turn off the camera, I'll go in and finish filling in, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how I add some like fly specks and other aging techniques. And I'll see you then.